Oh, okay. So, not bad. All right, we're going out to the shop. Bear with me. I think that's good. Let's get the shop set up. Okay. Here we go. I'll be live on YouTube. Yeah. Yeah, I am. It's just not seeing any of you. Just seeing me. All of this. No. It's brisk. It's brisk out here. Oh, let's get this set up. All plugged in. Forge freaking lit and warmed up. We gotta cut steel. Now, I won't be able to communicate with anybody because the actual computer is inside the house and I'm restreaming everything so that we can go live. But we can get everything set up. Steel cut. And then we'll go check the stream. So I need to get new matches. These are terrible. I swear. Get just an audit. Get the torch. We'll eventually get this thing lit. There we go. Open it up. A little warm up in here. Be cutting some stuff. Probably. I don't need that much, but we should do that round stock. I don't know. We got some square stock over here. It's pretty big. I think just going to keep it on this 1 inch by 3/8 stock that I normally use for my tongs. Like I said, I don't need a lot. Need probably 20 inches of it. So what we're looking at right here, probably 20 inches of this. If we go a full 22 and cut 11-inch pieces off of this, that'll give me more than enough to do these tongs. More than enough. Take this back out, hang it back up. So we're gonna do bolt. I was gonna do some slotted jaw, railroad spike tongs, but I think just get these done. They're for a friend of mine who has a pair of my regular tongs, but they kind of broke on him. So I'm making new ones. We're going to do bolt jaws. They are really good. Bolt jaws are really good for railroad spikes. We're going to do our normal, draw the rings out. But no, we're going to have we'll probably use 4 inches of steel for the bit. And if you're confused about what a bit is, that's the bit, that's the boss, and these are the rings. So we're going to do probably pretty close to 4 inch. This is a 3-inch face. A 3-inch face might work pretty good. But we're going to go just a little bit farther with these. Maybe 3.5. Seems like an awful lot. But a large boss is definitely in our favor. We can still do a pretty large. We want to make sure we get them really big, the barrel part, so that they can go around the head and not muss the head of the. We're going to go just actually 3.25 on these. What I'm doing right here is I'm marking at the point where the reins meet the boss. We're going to score it. Then we're going to go inside. After I put these in the fire, check our. We're going to be using the press for this. So I won't be hand hammering. Excuse me. The whole thing. We'll be using the press to get these ready to go. Close that up. Put these in the bucket. And I'm going to go check our stream. Be right back. And we're back. Okay, so what we need to do is change down. We need our rounding fullering die. I have these pacer blocks in there, so that you can only go down so far. The original thickness, or a little bit deeper, not by much. The original thickness. And I have spacers on top of those, gauges on top of those blocks that only allow me to go down the thickness of our stock. And there's other little tools that I've built to slide in and out. Like, this is for making the transition. This is for making the transition between the boss and the bit. Right there. Which you'll see here. Actually, you won't see this one as much because we're going to do a long, like our spike, like our tusk tongs. It'll be drawn out with a tab on the end of it. That'll be after we get the range done. So you won't see this in use today. So we're almost at temperature. So we'll pull this out. And the reason I'm not using a wireless mic is because in the wireless mic, this like whines at high pitch. But let's move our camera just a little bit here so that we can get a little more of the anvil. Yeah, it's real freaking annoying. Yeah, you can hear my voice fine, but you can't hear anything else. Really, really bad. So, good in here. It's been a while since I've been live on YouTube. You know, just getting everything worked out. It's been a while since I put a video out. All right. We're gonna go right at those scoring marks that we put down before. Thing on. Likes to trip the breaker every now and then when it's cold. There it did. All right, like that. It's still pretty cold. I need to get a 30 amp breaker. It's on a 20 right now, but a 30 would definitely work better. It's the only thing on that breaker too, but it's too much draw. Especially when it's cold, starts drawing more power. Yeah, so we'll work the other one. We have two in there. Work the other side of these tongs since it's nice and hot. All I'm doing right now is just making sure we get nice and straight. Don't start twisting too bad. twist at the end there. We'll fix that with a hammer. Now, the same amount of, if I was doing it with a hammer, we did in one heat, both sides, what would have taken probably, even with a top fuller, like a spring fuller in the hardy hole coming down, full with a fulling bar on it, would probably still have taken 2, maybe 3 heats to get where we're at right now. So this guy right here is absolutely quintessential for doing quick work. All right, so we were on the vertical this time, squishing down this way. Now we're going to go on the horizontal and squish this way. And so a combination of the two back and forth is what draws the reins out long. And we're looking for something, you know, between 13 and 16 inches. You know, really long reins. The reason for that is you can get some really good spring and grip on them. If they're too short and too rigid, it's really hard to get a good grip on something. Like these pair of wolf jaws are really great, you know, for like coal forging, but you can't really get a good springy grip on them. The ones I've been using that the super long reins on them, I can freaking grab all the way at the end and squeeze all the way down and get a really tight grip on whatever I'm holding. And so drawing these way out, you know, is gonna really benefit the smith, even if they may not think so. But I've made and been using tongs long enough to know what is the best tong to use. Now, these short ones, like I just had in my hand, are mainly for like coal forging. You can go in and out of these forges, but realistically, you want a nice long pair of tongs with a good set of reins on them. You know, these have really good long set of reins on them to where you can reach all the way in the back if you need to, and you're not burning your hands. You don't need gloves to do it. Still got a good amount of heat in there, so I'm just going to come right in here. We're going to press this down and use this heat up. probably another 2 heats to do everything that we just did. One more. We'll do one more heat cycle with that die in there, and then we'll switch out to the flat die. And then we'll have to also change out the bottom die at some point so that we can get our tab on the end. So currently the pantry is bare at rustyhammerforge.com. The store is kind of bare. I do have gift certificates and class vouchers up. We have forges on there, but we're in the process of switching out the design of our forges. Those are the old style forges. You can still buy those if you want. But we're going to a more production style forge that is easier to put together, much quicker to put together and assemble. And we have we're partnering with Dan Bly of Pacific Northwest Metal and Wrenches out of Dayton, Washington, to do that. And so, changing our logo and name and everything to meet all the new partnership and everything. So, the newer forges will be just as fuel efficient, but will be much more pleasing to the eye when you're looking at this. So, I'm going to be getting one here pretty soon to run tests on. You guys will see it here. You guys probably won't see it here. I probably won't go live with it. But we'll get it up here next to Fred and run it through its paces. It's a 2-burner design. We'll be making 1 burner and 2 burners. There won't be as many amenities on the new ones as the old ones. We're just going to keep it simple. And, if the person wants it, we can make it available, those little add-ons. But we're just keeping it simple. For a price point on a 2-burner, with shipping, we're going to have, within the United States, it's going to be $600. If you're local and you want to come pick it up, or you're within driving distance, or even if you're not and you just want to drive and pick it up, it'll be $400 for a 2-burner and $300 for a 1-burner without shipping. All right, so one more go on this die, and then we're going to swap out. We're going back on the vertical. Little tiny bites. Next you'll do die. The fullering die or rounding die for our flat die. And we'll change out our spacer size on our blocking well to fit the different die size. These are just pieces of angle iron, different thicknesses of angle iron that I've cut to facilitate the spacing. Because I don't want to go smaller than 3/8, not too much smaller than 3/8 when I'm doing these. I want to keep that same thickness because these are heavy duty. They need to be able to last, they need to be able to work. Ideally having 3/8 all the way through, even in the boss sections, and when you're doing slotted or bolt, is ideal so that it can withstand the pressures of heavy everyday production work. Chamfer in there. Now what chamfer is when you come up on the corners of your piece like that, and you're moving the center line, you're putting it back square, you're moving that meat of that beef of the steel back towards the center. As you picked up a twist, or you got a little bit of a diamond going on. It's easy to do in the press, especially after working with that fullering piece, fullering die. It's really easy to pick up a twist or a diamond, and you just got to come back, straighten it out. So that's what I'm doing. But I'm kind of coming at the angle on there. I'm putting some chamfer on the corners, chamfer in the corners. This one I paid a little more attention to the twisting, and it didn't get off, and so I didn't have to do too much to it because I kept going with the steel instead of just coming straight across it. Let that heat up pretty good. We're gonna stay with the flat. We're gonna start really squaring these up now. Flat die. Get them nice and pretty. We will end up taking the grinder to them a little bit, just to clean up some of the rough forging on them. I don't really like leaving a lot of unless I'm doing it completely with a hammer. Where I can clean everything up with the hammer. When I get down here at the press, I'll go up and clean up the edges and everything, and we'll get a hole put in it today, get the majority of everything done, ready for our pin in the boss section. We're on the horizontal. now. Check the length of the range. Grab our other one. See just how close we are in dimensions here. So this one is a little bit shorter. This is the first one we're doing. So I'm going to throw that one back in there, and we're going to draw it out just a little bit more. And this one, we're going to end up marking up. We're going to go with about, now let me talk about this. So this is your rain side, right? So then you need to come back opposite way so that your reins come in, make a zigzag, come out the boss as the bit comes out on top. So we're going to do an opposing, we're going to form our boss here. And we'll notch that. So that's where we're going to have a nice big boss. We'll stretch these out. And we're going to go kind of, not super thin, but we're going to go tall on the barrel part. It'll be thin, it's going to thin out, but it's going to be what's called a hard bend in there. It's going to be bending against the fibers. It's called a hard bend. So your fingers are stacked. Think of these as fibers, right? You can do it, bend it, but something has to give, and it ends up breaking, right? Much easier to bend this way. Same thing in steel. Stacking your fibers up on in where you want to do a hard bend so that it's harder to come out of that bend and harder to deform it even further underneath working conditions. So we're going to make it so that it comes across the hard bend for that barrel portion of our tong. All right, let's check those against the other one here. And we'll scribe in our mark as well. Damn near perfect. Off by just a little bit. I'm not worried about it though. So now we're going to scribe in our mark here. I'm going to grab both of these. see where that is. We're going to mark this well. So now that's marked. Now we're going to stick these in here. And actually, I need to mark the other side too. Give me 1 second. So we want a good inch of material out here. We got about 2 inches of steel in there to work our barrel on. I'm going to change everything out. Change our bottom die. We're going to change our bottom die really quick. We'll have to put it back in. No, let's start out with our top die changing. And we'll save the bottom die change out for last. So we're back to the fullering die or the rounding die. Still keeping our anvil die or our big wide flat die on the bottom. Change out our spacer plates. And these are like, between the two, there's like an 1/8 of an inch. So there is a difference in the different plates. When you break it down, it's quite significant. There she flipped again. get something like that. Now we're going to come back and switch this from the other side. When you're making a pair of tongs, you don't make a top and bottom. You make identical sets and flip one. You might be able to get away with not changing out bottom. Let's see here. If we continue working this the way it is, it's going to be offset. That might not be a bad thing. Let's finish these out and we'll see how they. Let's keep them this way. We can always make another set. If it's not exactly what I want. I also need to get me a railroad spike too at some point. So let's just continue working this, drawing this down, drawing this out. Now, realistic, I could probably do as much work at this stage with the hammer. We might try it. Over the horn here. Really long draw. So at some point we got to twist it. We don't have to twist them, but we're going to twist them. We got to twist those. They're on the vertical now. We got to twist them so they become a horizontal. The tabs on the end. So let's go over the anvil with our hammer. Over the large part of the anvil here. Draw this out. I might be able to get away without going back to the press, just doing it by hand with the hammer, heating that up and coming down right there over that corner. Create the bend I'm looking for. Yeah, that'll do. I think that's what we're gonna do. I'm actually gonna drop the. I'm gonna come in from here, drop that over the step here on the anvil, come right into that cutting table. That'll be perfect. Yeah. That's going to allow me to really work this in here. I get those angles that I want. And actually, I need to get another little bite on this. Another hard corner right there. And then we'll go over into the vise. Really set those rather nicely. And I could also change out flats at that point. I think we'll end up doing that too. Flats top and bottom on the press. Press that down. Really isolate. All right, we're going to go back to the press after isolating those sections. Take our bottom out. Bit warm. Put a flat in the bottom. Go take the top out, put a flat in the top. Check our spacing. putting our blocks in. No blocks. So it's all going to be by feel. Now we're just going to continue drawing those out with the flat dies. We need those long. We need probably a 3-inch barrel in there. Which means we're going to have to go almost 5 to 6 inches of length from those. So we're back on track to what we were originally doing, the railroad spike bolt tongs. I know these will work. I've had pairs of them. I've made pairs of them before. They're not necessarily exactly what people want. A lot of people want these style right here, where it clips over and you hold on to it. It's super, it has lots of dexterity in it. When you're working with those, it won't muss the head on them. Well, these won't muss the head either, but they're not as good. They can be, but 9 times out of 10, they're not. But these will work for my buddy. He'll be happy with them. I'm going to clean these up down here. Okay. So the majority, let's check these just for sizing here. It's important that these are the same length. We'll get them cleaned up. They're looking really good. This one will clean up a little more. But ideally, that's the initial forging done on them. Now, I'm going to get these cleaned up on the grinder, and then we'll put our hole in them. Now, I'm not going to punch the hole this time. I'm going to drill the hole on these, and then next time when we come back on the live show, might be tomorrow, probably tomorrow, is what we'll do is we'll finish these tongs out. But the initial forging is done. We got the reins done on them. We got the boss section and the bits of these. Now, there's quite some crucial forging that needs to happen up here on the tabs. We got to form V's into them that fit around a piece of square stock. I need to get a railroad spike so we can make sure that the bends in these are going to clear the head on them, and that when they seat on the shaft, they're right up against the head itself. So because you want that section in there to be used for a twist or whatever decorative handle that you're putting on these spikes, and you don't want to mess any of that up. You also want to leave as little. You also want to use as much for the blade as possible and leave as little for the handle as possible, because you're gonna draw this out a little bit farther. So we're gonna let these cool, and then I'm gonna get them up on the grinder. We're gonna clean up all the edges, clean up the boss, and we'll mark our center line, our center point on the boss. We'll drill the holes out, and we'll get a pin in them, and that's what we'll come back tomorrow with them drilled out, ground up, and cleaned, and ready for the next stage. So I appreciate you, everybody, for showing up. Those that will watch it later on, thank you very much for viewing the channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can see me do more of these live shows. You stay safe out there, everybody, and be well. Forge on.